and
Yeah.
like background
One that's like
cameras.
really obnoxious that you can't go through certain times of the day.
Yeah. So are they really tearing down these?
Oh, you can't say that.
Yeah, I can say, but I can tell you what I've been told, which is that they've been planning to do that for years. Years. Has it been done? No. Will they eventually do it?
They're not handicap.
It's not handicap accessible. Our windows leak profusely, like to the point where we had to send out a notice.
Can you get on the live stream, see if it's showing up?
Say,
Oh,
"Pull
I
your
have to send out
stuff
this email to everyone
Send out
first.
the
So.
email, and there's ones, yeah.
before the hurricane, because it will like 99% will have water coming in. Yeah.
Sounds like my garden.
Where do you live?
It's great. It's a really bad.
Cool character.
Yeah, but it has a beautiful view. If you go on the 8th, 9th floor, absolutely gorgeous. You can see downtown. At night, it looks like a little screenshot opening tableau from Frasier. Minus
I
the
would
Space
love to
Needle.
get a picture of that, but I don't want to be a freak. Say, hey, can I go up here? Take a picture?
Yeah,
What's the reason?
it, like you can go up.
Reagan,
the
I sent that email. Can you check it out?
Yeah, I will.
There's a student that's gonna be in the videos.
Okay.
Just a second.
Okay, so sorry about the delay and the technical stuff we're dealing with now. Thank y'all for coming out. It's like really hard to get people from an online class to show up, obviously. So but I see that those students usually do a lot better. I don't know. It's just correlation. It could be that you do better and then you want to show up because you're like more motivated, or it could be that these actually help. But we always want to try to make it into something that's useful for you guys. We don't want to waste your time having you be in here. So any kind of feedback of what you'd rather see, what you'd rather do to make these more useful, let us know. Even like in the moment right now, if this isn't working for you, then just shout out what you'd rather be doing right now. But basically we want to just go over some of the bigger concepts that are going to be on the exam, which opens up on Wednesday. That's the 11th. And we extended the time out to the 24th that you can take it because we had some technical difficulties with Fulcrum as well. The biggest problem in this class is obviously technical difficulties, so we're going to keep dealing with that. Second biggest problem is that I'm a slacker, and so this review session also is incomplete. So as a bonus, you guys are going to get a study guide with some like very key points on it tomorrow. I'll post it on Moodle. That won't be a regular in the other exams, but since the Jeopardy game is incomplete, you get that out of it. So yeah, 11th to the 24th, all the exams are done at the Delta Center. You have to make an appointment if you haven't done that before, and try to do that as early as possible because the time slots get sucked up pretty quickly, so you want to get in a good spot. And we're going over the units in Fulcrum that are what is psychology, systems of thought and psychology, research methods, and then biology and behavior. Y'all have any questions about the exam stuff, just administrative things? Cool. Anyone got questions like before going into any of this? Like any of the content, any of the materials, something that's not clear? All right. I also haven't tested this out, so I guarantee some of the answers are going to pop up there. People are just going to get free points, but we'll go over the game in a second. So leading up to the exams, especially the first one, there's two questions that I get, which is what do I need to study? And I hate answering that. That's why I hate giving study guides too, because I don't want y'all to just memorize what you know, like specific pieces of information that you know you're going to have to memorize just for the exam. But at the same time, you are going to memorize stuff. And so if it's in bold and Fulcrum, that's a good place to start, obviously. But I'm hoping that once we walk through kind of the bigger picture, that you won't just have to be memorizing terms on flashcards, that it'll all kind of like tie in together. In the study guide, I will point out some key bold terms that are in Fulcrum that you do not have to memorize. So I'll start trying to trim down that list for you. A lot of people ask if we need to know names and dates. And I hate that too. There will be some names that we have to memorize, especially since we're talking about like the history of psychology. But definitely not dates. Dates are not important. But with the names, I'll tell you which names you need to know. And you just need to know basically one key point about what they did. Maybe like what the big experiment was that they did, or how it relates to the bigger concept that we're talking about. If you need to know anything more specific than that, then I'll let you know again, like exactly what that is. Anyone have questions about, like, if you want more specific information about what's going to be on there, or yeah. Cool. And then how do I study? So we gave out some tips at the beginning of the class in an email of things like drawing out concept maps and things. But the big thing is you want to do less memorization and more connections. So there's this idea from psychology that we'll talk about later called depth of processing. And basically, the more connections and deeply you can think about anything, the better it'll stay in your memory. So all the ways to study are going to try to improve that, like making more connections. So you want to practice applying the concept. So like all the things that show up on Fulcrum where they give you an example and they're like, what's, this concept, where is it in this? That's a really good way to do it. If you have concepts from other courses that you're more interested in, then it's good to tie to that because you'll remember the stuff you're more interested in, and other subjects. And then the one that I really like to play off of, especially with like the topic engagement activities, is just connecting it to your own life. So all the topic engagement activities are going to be, just those participation grades, and they're just going to be things trying to get you to connect those concepts to things that you've actually experienced. And then drawing pictures is a good way too. If anyone needs more specific study tips, then you can come to me or Reagan individually, and we can go over some of those with you. All right, so this is the way the review sessions are usually going to work. They're going to usually be more fleshed out. I'm going to chalk it up to the beginning of the semester, get them warmed up. But they're always open book and open notes, so you guys can have Fulcrum open. When the question gets posted, if you want to answer it, you just raise your hand. There might be multiple questions or multiple answers on each one. And we'll try to call in like whoever raises their hand first, including if people on the live chat want to chime in, then they can do that too. And yeah, so we'll just try to get one person at a time, trying to go in order of who raised their hand first. But then, yeah, we're going to hand out money for the questions, which will be sticky notes. And then at the end, whoever wins gets, we usually do Chipotle. What's it? Oh, that's good. What else is there? Howling Cow? Okay, there will be 2 winners. So 2 gift cards, one for Chipotle, one for Howling Cow, and the 2 winners can decide which one they get. All right, so to warm up, come in. I wonder if that's pizza.
You got pizza?
Yeah, that's, again, last minute. There's usually more snacks and stuff, but I hope that's pizza.
Oh, pizza. Yeah. It's awesome. Way on the thing. I was like, oh, it's pizza.
You guys don't want to take a break for this, right? Sweet. Cool, thank you.
Oh, damn.
And I know I asked about dietary restrictions. I'm sure that some people are lactose intolerant. This like goes against their diet. Sorry, next time I'll put more consideration of that. All right, so first question, what's my name?
Elliot Ward.
Pretty close. I mean, yeah, very close. TA's name? Reagan, yeah. Anyone got a last name for Reagan?
Both sides.
Cool. Yeah, I am Elliot Nauert. That's why I hesitated on that one, but no one knows that, so I should have just given, yeah. So yeah, I'm Elliot Nauert, and that's Reagan Wilson. Yes, Michael.
Shouldn't it be, if they're playing Jeopardy, answer it in the form of a question?
Yeah. No. Do you know how much work that takes? Yeah. So good to meet you all. It's really tough doing the online class and not meeting everyone. But yeah, I'm one of the names behind the emails. Who got last name? Technically, that's 50, but we'll give you 100. So yeah, anytime you all need help, reach out to one of us, and this is who you're talking to here. All right, second question. What are you eating or drinking right now?
Water.
Okay, you brought that from home, huh?
Yes.
Okay. You had one too?
I had barbecue chips and water.
Nice, good job. Yeah, so for bonus $50, then everyone takes 6 minutes. I know I was late like 6 minutes also, but y'all need to eat some of that food. It'll give me a second to make sure the PowerPoint's working as well. At this point, it might be. Oh yeah, just hand out treats. Sit back and
I've never got
watch the learning happen. Do it.
Oh, no, I thought of like it pretty much is. That's only funny for me. How is your teenage name spelled?
We did give extra credit on the final exam for people that's knew the names and spelled them.
I still have people who've known me for 10 years who still inserted E like randomly into my name, so.
I don't want a picture from here and then another one that's more of this guy.
And you took that from your dorm?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet water.
It's really,
With this down?
yeah. It's a lot more illustrious in person. Yeah. You can see the cathedral off to the side. It's really pretty at Christmas because the PNC building will turn the little pointy thing there. They'll make it green and red for a Christmas tree. Beautiful. Did you add any filters to that?
No,
Oh, wow.
I increased some of the color in the filter.
Yeah.
I use,
I like it.
Yeah.
Audio's good.
lighter.
What's that?
Audio's good.
Cool.
I'm having people respond to chat like whether or not, there were some issues with like audio right at the beginning, but now
Okay.
it's like everybody's hearing.
Cool.
History of it. I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah, yeah.
sure.
If they're
Good picture.
wondering if they're having trouble hearing it, let them know. The recording will be up later and we'll have the
Enjoy
study
your
guide too.
photography.
And these slides too.
Can we just raise our hand, someone in the chat wants to answer?
Or yell or whatever.
I'll just raise my hand. You don't need to be subjected to my yelling.
Fair enough.
That's it. No, I'm sure. Because they have a, like the more needle crust to it. Really sweet. I love it.
What's his vision? Yes, can you recommend this as a vision?
So I don't think I popped up your names. My name's Abby. Allie? Yeah. No, you're good. My name's Sutton. Sutton? Sutton. Okay. Oh, yeah. Sorry, it was the pizza.
Yeah.
What are you guys? Sophomore. Okay. What are you guys studying? Oh, I went to the step camp a couple summers ago. Yeah, we did PCT for my session.
Oh, yeah.
Biochemistry.
Fun
times.
Hey Reagan, be sure to let everyone know on the live stream that
I was, but I switched.
Okay, what are you now?
Well, like I'm animal science engineering. But I switched like sophomore year, so I already took like all the chemistry.
Yeah.
What year are you?
Well, English.
I have a friend, she had a really like hard time, she's like, I like forensics and everything, but I also like creative writing.
Yeah.
And so she already has an entomology minor,
Thank you for the pizza.
And so she ended up going with creative writing for her second
No,
minor
no.
because she took
It
one
is.
forensics class.
You were
and
hype
then,
man.
like, the first slide was the dead
He was very
child
hyping before you came.
rotting away in the woods. And she's like, nope.
All right, y'all. We'll get started back into it. We'll have one more warm-up question here. All right. What's the name of one other person in the classroom?
My bad.
Micah? Okay. Hey, Micah.
Yeah.
Carol.
Carol? Cool. Did you have your hand raised, Carol?
Abby.
Who's that? Cool.
This is Garrison.
Garrison.
That's Harrison.
Carol. Nice.
What?
Anyone else? All right.
Sutton and Allie.
Ooh, double. Nice. How many of y'all just met tonight? I heard that happening here. Good, good. Did y'all come together? Cool. Do you guys know each other?
No.
Harrison and Garrison just met fortuitously? That's awesome. There are 150 people in this class, so I would never learn your names anyway, but if y'all are coming to the review sessions and reach out on email, then I'll start to catch on a bit. I'm so tired. Here, you guys, will you take what you earned and then pass it on? Okay. So here's the real stuff here. A lot of these are going to be blank once we get into it, so we'll see. Who was the last? Either Harrison or Garrison. One of y'all want to start us off? So you'll just pick a thing, and I'm going to say that whoever picks the category gets like weighted first dibs on answering if you want. But yeah, just lead us into it. We'll see what happens. I didn't lead the one. We tried this once last year. This is still in beta phase, and I wasn't here for that one, so we'll see how it plays out this time. But
All right, it's psychology for 100.
alrighty.
Started off slow.
That was the best way to start.
And it's like the vaguest question ever. So what is psychology? Anyone want to answer that any way that they want to? But Garrison or Harrison? Ah, damn. Harrison, you get first dibs if you want to take a crack at it.
It's a way of evaluating human behavior and thoughts.
Yeah, perfect. Sweet. Way of evaluating human behavior and thoughts. Yep. Anyone else?
You said it's open notes, right?
Yeah.
The study of human behavior and mental processes and their influences.
Yep, that sounds right. Yep. Anyone else?
It deals with how we view the world, why we dream, how we learn, and where our personalities come from.
So yeah, obviously from the textbook, main thing is looking at mental processes and behavior. And then there's all kinds of things that get wrapped into that because our behavior is everything that we do. Our mental processes are everything that we think and feel. Could you have the sticky notes? Oh. Did you grab what you need? That's all. Put these here. It'll be one sticky note per $100 and y'all can figure it out. Mike will keep an eye on you for being honest. He was special forces too, so he's got great situational awareness and he can discipline.
Turns out I am off today.
All right, so yeah, those are all good answers. Is that the only thing I had on there? Okay, yeah, study of behaviors and mental processes. And the other big takeaway here is that it's a science. This is what they're framing it to you as, is how psychology works as a science. It's sometimes the social sciences get a bad rap because they're not as like reliable as the physical sciences and stuff, but they still use the same processes. It's just like a messier system that they're studying. So when you're going through that first unit of what is psychology, think about all the ways that they're describing it to you as a science and kind of compare that to what the other sciences are. Oh. All right, we're gonna do psychology for 200. So breaking it down, psycho, I guess from Latin, means relating to the mind, and logi, the study of something. So the study of the mind, why are we talking about behavior then? Why is that important in psychology?
Because it's a measurable way to see what's going on internally and mentally.
Yeah, so behavior is measurable, right? Mental processes, measurable. Right. So yeah, that's why we use behavior, because that's how we infer what's actually going on in the mental processes. So that's one of the other big takeaways from that unit is behavior is measurable, and from that we infer what the mental processes are. Don't forget your sticky notes for that one. And tell me your name again.
Abby.
Abby. Okay.
Anything that starts with an A is usually fine.
I can manage that.
I had a kid call me Apple for an entire year.
I like that. That'll be easier to remember. Anyone else? Any other reason why we would study behavior when we're talking about psychology?
Because it can be observed by others.
Yeah. So like one of the things that we're like social beings, that's one of the things that they describe humans as, is that we're social. So that's one of the ways that our behavior is affected as well. So yeah, basically it's behavior tells us what mental processes are, and mental processes obviously affect behavior, and one of the ways that happens is from social influences too. All right, we're going back here. Does anyone want to try a different column? Yes, Apple.
We'll go with biology and behavior for 100.
Sweet. Draw a neuron. Oh, no, you got to do it where everyone can see.
Wait, what if I just draw it really big?
It's got to be big enough for the webcam. Yep, see, if you're going to hesitate in Jeopardy, someone else is buzzing in.
You can go if you want, sure. You want to tag team it?
Is that allowed?
That's allowed.
Sure. How?
Here, I'll draw half of it.
There?
Okay.
Abby, tell me your partner's name again.
I'm Micah.
Micah. Cool.
Yeah. Okay. There's this. There's this. Okay, I'll let you draw the axiom.
Why are you doing that?
It's looking good so far. Yes.
That's bad.
Abby, you're on the finger covering. But you can, I was just gonna say, best you move to the other
Really
side.
bad.
You're definitely drawing something from Mario.
Oh, those,
Are we? Okay.
Yeah.
How do you want to say
Okay.
it?
What can you label on there now?
Okay, so,
Or just point it out.
Nucleus.
Yeah, what'd you just draw there? What are those little things?
dendrites.
Okay.
And their branches.
Cool.
So then you have the axion and then the myelin sheath as well, which is protecting it. And then you have the nucleus and centrosome. The
Yeah.
big nucleus.
US
US?
or AS?
You.
Okay.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
Almost all the questions are like multiple choice. So
So,
spelling
and this
not
was
important.
the axon, right? Or like this.
Like the whole,
this,
like
yeah.
like, yeah.
And then these were the axon terminals.
Mhm.
Nice. It's beautiful.
All right, man.
Thank you.
Anyone
Put in the
do-
loop someday.
anything else that they should include on there?
Nodes of.
I don't think they
No,
mentioned that.
nope, they did not.
What?
Notes are very
Don't cloud their
wrong
mind with that. Cool. Perfect. Thank y'all. So yeah, there's more clear pictures for people on the webcam and for y'all to take away, but you do need to know the main structures here and an idea of what the function of each of those structures are. So yeah, they pointed out the soma, the big body there. It's got a nucleus in there. And the dendrites are all these little branches here. So all the signals that get passed through the neurons come into these dendrites and go into the soma here. And then it gets passed on down the axon through underneath the myelin sheath. The axon just carries that signal down, and it hits those axon terminals, and then it's transferred over to the next neuron's dendrites. What's down? So if I have another, these are the dendrites of the next one down here, and I had to draw soma. Let's do this. So here's the next axon down the line. What's this in here? Yeah.
Synaptic cleft.
Yeah. So yeah, the gap is the synaptic cleft. And then the whole thing together is called the synapse. And how does the signal get transferred from the axon terminals of this one into the dendrites of the other?
Neurotransmitters, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yep, neurotransmitters are in there. So yeah, highly recommend drawing these out at home and labeling them and understanding how the signal actually comes through here. So it comes in at the top through the dendrites, hits the soma, comes down the axon, goes to the axon terminals, turns into neurotransmitters, and then jumps across to the other one. Yeah, Reagan.
And just to save y'all's erasers, the best way to do that is just to do everything and then cover it with sticky notes. And then just write on the sticky notes on top. I found that out the hard way.
Cool. Okay. Anyone have questions about the specifics of the neuron? And so obviously I know what's going to be on the exam, and also I don't like the exam when I looked at it this time around. So basically I'm going to redo most of the exam. So if this is what I pointed out here in the review session, that's what you'll need to know about the neuron. It's good to know lots of other stuff, but that'll be the key stuff there. Miss anything? You don't need to know synaptic vesicles. All right. Who's choosing next?
I will research methods for.
Okay, so did y'all hear about Facebook getting in trouble recently with their experiment? So basically they altered different people's feeds to where some of them saw more positive posts and some of them saw more negative posts. So it wasn't random, they just actually assigned people to these groups. And then they wanted to see how it would affect people's moods. So in this example of an experiment, what's the independent variable and what's the dependent variable? Yeah, Micah.
Posts are the independent variable and the mood is the dependent.
Yeah, yep. So what about the posts is
Oh,
independent? What's
like the positive or negativity of the post.
Yeah, yeah. So in general, what's the difference? Independent variable versus dependent?
The dependent variable is dependent on the independent variable, so it's like altered by it.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, the independent variable is the thing that the experimenters are manipulating, and the dependent variable is the thing that they actually want to affect and measure how it's affected by the things that they actually change. When you're going over this stuff, like basically all the different research methods, again, rather than writing out flashcards, think of examples from real life that you've heard and know well, and identify what they are in that context, and it'll stick with you a lot better. Anyone have an idea of this is a crappy one. Yeah, anyone inspired for a confounding variable that could exist in this? Yeah.
Maybe like how the people's like personal life is going.
Yeah.
And that would affect their mood for sure.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good one. So the confounding variables in general are other variables that we didn't expect to have an effect, but they might actually. So it would be like in this case, their personal life, something else could just by chance be that everyone who received negative posts also had crappy things happening in their lives, and that's what actually affected their moods. Good, good. Cool. I don't see y'all keeping track with Post-it notes. Oh, yes. Yeah. What's your name again?
Carol.
Carol. Okay, cool. Carol's gonna win this. Anyone feeling excited about one of these columns? Emily?
Sure. Psychology for 200.
Okay. Oh, sorry. I did that one.
Oh.
You want 300?
Yeah, I'll try.
Oh, crap. All right, let's see. What's something that we want to know about the class? Let's see. Okay, let's just say we wanted to know if people on the front rows of tables here own more pets than the people in the back rows of tables. Who knows what the first step of the scientific method would be if we wanted to answer that scientifically? Yes.
So this would be the problem, then you would come up with a hypothesis to answer the question. Right?
Yeah. So what's your hypothesis?
Oh, what was the question again?
Does this row of tables have more pets than the back row of tables?
I think that this row of tables has more pets because you have certain students studying biology and they might be more prone to having animals.
Cool. I like the reasoning there. Okay, so we have our hypothesis. We think that the front row will have more pets than the back row. So what's the second step for the scientific method? Yeah, Emily?
Design a experiment.
Is that what the next one is? Okay, cool. I like the nods. Yes, but hand?
Construct the hypothesis.
Okay. Apple just did one.
Oh, okay.
So she's saying that the front row will have more pets and than the back row there. So yeah, step one, good. And step two, apparently is design a study. Cool. So how would we study this one?
We can do like a survey
Mhm.
and ask people how many pets they have and maybe try to find out the relationship between having pets and taking the psychology class.
Yeah. So to start with the survey. So we've got that, and we could do that right now. So what would the third step be?
Analyzing the data.
So we designed the survey, but we didn't take it yet, right? Wait,
So you would design it, then you would do the survey, collect and analyze the data.
Yeah.
Is kind of.
Yeah, okay, yeah, so maybe y'all just covered that all at once, and I was trying to discrete it out. So
Emily
yeah,
said
cool.
that you would execute the survey, and then you said.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Sweet. So yeah, you guys got it all there. We can do this real quick. So everyone in the front row, hold up the number of fingers of pets that you own. 2, 3, 5, 8, 9, 10, 11. No pets there?
No.
Okay, so 11 in this row. How many back there? Holy moly.
I live on a farm.
Those are pets, they all have names?
Yeah.
And you don't eat any of them?
I mean, I'll take those out of it, so yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Still, okay.
um,
Cool. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So 9. If we don't count
Yeah, I
a
don't
farm.
outlier.
So what would do? I don't remember if they talked about this in the research methods or not. With at least 10 animals, what would you be in this sample here?
Outlier?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you'd be an outlier for sure. So we'll go ahead and exclude you as 9 versus 11. So if we analyze that data,
But
which
is
is
the difference significant?
that's yeah. We're not going to dive into that, but it's very good to keep track of. Okay, so 9 versus 11. So you analyze that, and what's the one after that?
Come to a conclusion.
So we'll say it's significant. We can conclude that there's more up here than back there, except the outline. And then what's the last one?
Share your data.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so we'll share it with the live stream, and we're done. So again, I would take a specific example that you know and map it out with the concepts that you're supposed to be like memorizing, and then you can come back to that basically like story way easier than you can come back to individual flashcards. All right, what's next here? Yeah, Abby.
Biology and behavior for 200.
All right, so overall, what is this brain structure and what does it do? Cerebrum, yeah.
More so focuses on, more so like your thought processes and so forth, as opposed to the limbic system, which is more like your emotions.
Perfect. I'm just going to repeat it so at least the live stream can hear too. The cerebrum is what you described it as. Depending on how you're looking at it, it could also be cerebral cortex or the forebrain, but in general, it handles like the higher order thoughts, like reasoning and stuff, right? So usually when you think about someone thinking, like, processing, thinking through something, trying to decide things, all those like human thoughts, that's all handled up here in the cerebral cortex, cerebrum, however you want to look at it. And you compared it to the limbic system, right? Which handles more of things like emotions and feelings and kind of automatic
The
things.
primitive brain is what it's also called. Then.
Yeah, it kind of depends on what term. Do they describe it as that in Fulcrum?
No.
Okay,
just
it is.
recall
It's a
that
useful way to
before.
think about it. Yeah. All right, and what about the different colored sections? So these are all different parts of the cerebral cortex. Who knows what the blue is? I'm gonna wait for everyone else. Oh,
Frontal lobe.
frontal lobe. Cool. What's that one do?
Reasoning.
If-
I'll let somebody else answer if they want.
Okay, that's nice to share your answer. Yeah.
Reasoning, speech,
Yeah. Reasoning, speech. So this again is more the stuff that we think of as like human thought, like conscious thought. How about yellow? Emily?
Is it parental?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Parietal lobe up at the top there.
Yes, and it's related to touch.
Mhm.
Senses.
Yeah, that's one of the things handled there. So I can't remember if we get into this more later or not, but basically this whole section here is called the somatosensory cortex, I think. But it's this strip of where all the touch sensations are handled. So that's one of the things that's handled in the parietal lobe. All right, green.
Temporal.
Oh, just going for it. No, exactly right. What's it handled there?
Hearing and taste.
Yeah, cool. That one is easy for me to remember because it's right behind the ear. A little mnemonic. All right, and then the pink.
Occipital.
Occipital, yeah. What happens there?
Vision.
Yep. Yeah, so those are like the most important thing to be very comfortable with. Like it's going to come up in every single time biology comes up in psychology again, is the different lobes and how their functions are divided into those different lobes.
The exam, do you want us to like, you just had us like say like, what's the blue? Like, are you wanting something like that for the exam?
As opposed to,
As opposed to just like knowing what they do, you want us to know where they are as well.
it's a good question. I think I'm going to put this picture on the exam.
Okay.
And that's all.
Gotcha.
Mostly, that might be extra good. Yeah, just know the names of the lobes and those major functions there. Whoops. Okay, name one of the neuroimaging techniques. I'm gonna wait until someone who hasn't spoken yet gets uncomfortable enough. Yes, or brave. Yes. What? CAT scan. Yep. Do you know any of the advantages or disadvantages of use of that, or just what it's used for?
I think the CAT scan is the one that uses X-ray. It uses X-rays, which means it's obviously disadvantage would be it's more dangerous, like for cancer and stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it's the advantage of it is it's faster.
I think it's pretty fast.
Yeah.
And what they would usually use it for is structure. So you don't get a lot about what's actually going on in the brain, but you get a good picture of what it looks like. And so that's why when you get like a head injury, they use the CAT scan, they can see what's happened like physically in there. So yeah, excellent. What was your name?
Jacob.
Jacob, cool. Anyone got another one? Harrison?
Yeah.
Okay.
MRI.
MRI, yep. Do you know some of the strengths, weaknesses of that one?
It's good for determining like densities, like different densities, right?
Yeah.
Like you can distinguish between skin and bone.
Yeah, so it's another good one for structure, kind of like CAT scan, but it's even better. It also has really good resolution, which is something you don't get with a lot of the other ones.
PET scan.
PET scan, yep.
That's the
Positron
one where you
emission.
take the supplement and then it goes and it uses the glucose to measure like how fast it's being metabolized in parts of the brain.
And what does that tell you?
Usually it indicates tumors or not. So if they are present or not.
Cool. I think there's one more on there.
EEG.
That one's not on there, surprisingly, right?
Oh, really?
EEG is not in there?
FM.
That's Emily's hand.
It's fMRI,
Yeah,
and it highlights the greater area of oxygen use.
yep. So that was fMRI, similar to MRI, but the functional part means that it can tell you what's actually going on in the brain. It shows you activity. So it's got, it goes beyond structure, which has been really useful. So they can like make you do a task where you're looking at, say, disgusting pictures or something, and they can see what part of the brain lights up then, and somehow that's related to disgust. CAT, PET, MRI, fMRI. Oh, okay, we're doing biology and behavior again. What functions are handled by the autonomic nervous system? Yes.
Regulates cardiac muscles, rear muscle and glands.
For what purpose? Give you a hint. It's part of it. I mean, in general, it's just like homeostasis, like just to help you live. But also the ones that they point out are related to what the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic
Like
nervous.
reaction, like fight or flight.
Yeah.
things like that.
Yep. So fight or flight is one. So yeah, in like survival situations, these are ones. Do you know which one handles fight or flight specifically?
Sympathetic.
Yeah.
And then parasympathetic is reaction after.
Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of sympathetic is fight or flight. So it'll increase your heart rate, intense up your muscles, and then parasympathetic is rest and relax. So it starts to aid digestion again and help you relax again. Anyone else got anything else that's going on in these? Cool. I don't think I do either. Glands, fight or flight, rest, relax, cool. I'm gonna choose one. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, this is our number one, the topic engagement activity.
Yeah. So these are who hasn't seen this. Okay, you all saw it? Cool. It's getting through. So this is the results from the topic engagement activity 1. And basically, again, just relating like the concepts that we're going over. In this case, just the distinction between the different things that psychology studies, which are thoughts, behaviors, emotion, and how they relate to your everyday lives. The results for topic engagement activity 2 will probably come out tomorrow. And then I think number 3 will open up next week. I don't know, but I'm glad you all saw it, and do take a look at those because sometimes there will be an extra credit question about the results that we put out. It'll be something really easy, but basically just to make sure that you guys are taking a look at it. Yeah. Michael, would you like to choose one?
Yeah, school of thought.
Do what? Oh,
did you say
Mike.
school?
Oh, no. Yeah, Micah, go for it.
The school of thought.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Name any modern day domain or flavor of psychology. And there's a ton of them.
Like educational?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Educational stuff.
Cool. Where have you seen that applied in your life?
In my life? I guess as a teacher, going to a conference and coming back with new ways to teach that
Yeah.
will be more effective.
Yeah. So there's some grad student probably in this building studying new ways to teach kids and then going to conferences and telling teachers how to use it and if it works. Cool, it's a good one. Who's got another one? Emily?
Human factor psychology.
That's my favorite. What's where have you seen that one applied in your life?
And like stores where they are trying to come up with some gadgets.
Somewhat?
Kitchen gadgets to help our life easier.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Sometimes they work really good and sometimes they don't.
Yep. Yeah, so we're all in the human factors program. And in general, it's like how we use what we know about psychology to design new products that make sense and are easy to use.
Fucking better than everyone. Remember that. That's a joke.
It's so
There are
true.
lots of good areas
So
of
true.
psychology.
What's another one? Maybe even better than human factors.
Exactly.
Hang on, Abby. Just enjoy everyone else getting more and more uncomfortable. Harrison.
Marketing.
That's a good application of it. So can you think of one of the like psychology domains that are around now that might be used in marketing?
We're like looking at demographics as far as what consumers want and what they need.
Yeah. So some
It's a
preference.
psychological aspect.
Yeah, for sure. And there are people psychologists whose job it is just to design surveys that look into that. One of the big ones that kind of came out of marketing is social psychology. And so, no, okay, I won't say that. It didn't come out of marketing, but it's really closely related to it. So yeah, it's looking at kind of how we work in our everyday lives, which is a very social world, and using that to influence our behaviors to buy more stuff. Yeah.
Also, sports psychology.
Yeah.
That's become a bigger one. You guys already say that.
What's that?
Never mind.
Yeah. Are you an athlete?
Sort of, not really, not here.
Okay. What kinds of things do they do for athletes?
Right now, the big thing I can think of is CTE research.
Yeah.
Looking at how that affects aggression in ex-former NFL players.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So that's tying in a bunch of different parts of psychology, the biology, the different functions of the different structures in the brain, and applying it to a real world situation. And yeah, so that's really important and one that's hot right now. Yeah.
Clinical.
What's that?
Clinical.
Yep. Where have you seen that one?
My dad's a psychiatrist.
That's a good one. Yeah. It's a clinical, psychologists and psychiatrists. And that's probably the one that everyone thinks of immediately. What's your name again?
Allie.
I actually have a question.
Yeah.
It's probably a dumb question.
Probably not.
What's the difference between social psych and sociology?
That is a good question. Difference between social psych and sociology. I won't be able to speak to this real well, except that social psychology does have to do specifically with like what's going on in the mind. Even though we're studying these social behaviors, it's looking at how that affects our individual thought processes and how our individual thought processes then play back into social behavior. And sociology, gotta simplify here, is because I don't know any better, kind of bigger picture. So it's kind of looking at how more like at society rather than the individuals within it. But it looks like Reagan's raising her hand because she knows better.
Yeah, I took sociology in undergrad. It's basically, it is, you got it correct. Social psychology is more about what happens in the brain, whereas sociology tends to be more about the environment around the person and multiple groups of people and what they do, basically. That's at least how I understood it, so.
Cool. Yeah.
So like one's more intrapersonal, the other one's more interpersonal.
Yeah, they have a very decent relationship, but one is more focused on the external and one is more focused on the internal.
Just one's about cultures and societies, one's about how the individual interacts with cultures and societies.
We are coming up on 7 now, and by the way, y'all are welcome to leave at any time, even like half hour before now. So, sorry, I just now told you, and I won't be offended. We probably have like 4 or 5 more slides in here. And then, like I said, these will be up on Moodle and they'll be complete. We'll have a study guide for this exam. And is there anything else that we're gonna provide? Oh, the recording will be up there too. But yeah, just so that's on the table right now. We just got a few more minutes here. The long list here. So this is where I was saying we've got a lot of bold terms that you could be memorizing. And this is like, I think these all came from one page in Fulcrum. And it is unfortunate, you do have to kind of know in general what each of these is. But again, that's why if you can think of where it relates in your everyday life, then it's going to be much easier to cram all that into your head. All right, what else is in here? I think there's, let's just see. Nope. Bun, who's that? Micah?
Founder of psychology.
Nice. Yeah, he's one of, I told you there will be specific names that you have to know. Wilhelm Wundt is going to be one of those because he's the founder of psychology. What made him the founder of psychology? Anyone know? A what? A what? Workforce? I don't know. I don't know.
I thought you said like workforce organizations.
Wasn't it more like dealing with like World War I, World War II type stuff, and he was just going in there and trying, that's way off.
I still know what workforce is. We'll talk about it offline. He started the first lab. So psychology had always been kind of like philosophy. You know, they talk about that earlier in the chapter, and then empiricism was coming around, but Wundt was the first one to try to do actual experiments to study psychology. And it turns out the methods he was using weren't great, but he got it rolling. So when in the exam, there will be a question asking for this password to show that you participated in the review session. So you'll answer Wundt, the founder of psychology. Pretty sure that if you forget this, it'll be fine. I think I'll remember, like in general. Just let me know. I know you're good for it. And yeah, I throw it in here randomly in each review sessions that people can't just like watch the video and go straight to 5 minutes and like, no, they have to sit through a lot of it. So this again is another place where you're gonna have to memorize a lot of bold terms, and this is names in particular. So this is pretty much all the names that were on one of those pages, but these are pretty important ones to know. So this will be another one where you do just have to memorize, but there's any way that you can tie it in, like if you can go watch a short 5-minute YouTube video that tells their like life story or something, that'll help put it into your brain better. But yeah, so in the same order that they're listed there, they're listed at the bottom. So Wundt was the founder of psychology. Titchener did structuralism. William James did functionalism. J. Henry Alston, first African-American psychologist, and Mary Whiton Chalkins was the first female president of APA, even after she was denied a PhD from Harvard because she was female. So these are all either influential in the culture and or science of psychology. Another good thing to do will be relate to where psychology is today. Like, why are they influential? What did it really lead to in the long run? Whoops. Yeah. One more minute here. Let's see where there's more stuff. Did it? Did it? Nothing. Oh yeah, these are the scraps. All right. All right, so that's, normally that'll be filled out more fully, but that is the big chunk of like specific information that you're gonna need to know. And then, like I said, I'll have the study guide for y'all on Moodle also. Does anyone have any questions right now or something that you'd like to go ahead and tell me you want to do differently next time? Reagan?
I just have a question from a student on chat. One student asked, like, will we have to calculate standard deviation on these exams?
Oh, heck no. No, you won't have to calculate anything, but definitely know the different measures of central tendency and the measures of variability. But no calculations.
Is it multiple choice?
About 56 out of 60 or so questions are multiple choice or matching. And then there will be like, I think just the extra credit questions are short answer.
So it's 60 questions.
About there, yeah, it's always a little more, a little less. Y'all take some food too, and make sure you tell anyone else that you encounter in class if there's food. There'll be even more food next time. But yeah, thank you all for coming out, and just come back up next time. And let us know if you have any questions leading up to it. Oh yeah, who won? Apple was definitely killing it out there. Micah was racking them up too.
Mike, I can have them, I don't really care for Chipotle.
What about Howling Cow?
There you
I
go.
already
I'd rather have
have,
the Howling Cow.
I already have a free one for Howling Cow.
Howling Cow? Chipotle?
You never carry too many like
Oh.
gift certificates.
Alright, we'll figure it out. I'll email y'all. Go.
Thank you. I like want to wrap up the live stream.
Do what?
We'll wrap up the live stream.
You.
And like
Can I take the apples? Can I take the Gala apples? I don't care about Granny Smith.
Go for it.
Yeah, okay, cool, that's all I need. Okay. I don't need the other food. I just need
Unless Micah
apples.
wants them for her horses that I assume she has.
And Elliot, when will the
Just
live
kidding,
be
make me
available?
I just like apples.
Slides will be available tomorrow by midday.
Thank
Is that
you.
Pearson?
I was just having a question about the survey stuff.
Yeah. The experiment or
Yes,
research participation?
yes.
Okay.
I was a little like, because like when I went on the website, it didn't have like, it was just kind of looked like a free for all, like do whatever you want. So I didn't know if there was like a structure of how much you wanted us to do or,
So you see there's a 6 credit requirement.
okay, so you just gotta do 6 credits worth.
Mhm. Yeah, so some of the experiments are worth, more than one.
Okay.
But yeah, however you rack those up, it's fine.
Okay.
And as long as you qualify for the study, but they'll sort that out.
So,
And so there's only a handful available, I think, right now, but more pop up through the semester, but then they also start to drop off towards the end of the semester. So getting in sooner is better.
So how easy, or like how is 6 like, kind of like a long?
I'm here
time
because
period-wise?
So you get 1 credit per half hour.
Oh, okay.
So it'll be 3 hours total.
Teacher at my school in Newburgh.
It can't be any more than that. Sometimes you'll come in for like 2 minutes and they have to give you 1 credit per half hour.
Oh, wow.
So
Gotcha.
And it's all online service?
No, not all of it. Some of it is
Okay.
like experiments here in Poe and stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
take a look
Hand
what
them out
pops
as
up.
like
All right, cool. That was pretty much it, because I didn't want to like miss
And
out on
then
the,
after
all that
that,
stuff.
Yeah. Good getting on it
So
early.
I didn't want to do the research paper
showing up in like
so-
little
No one does.
restaurants.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I gotta ask about these,
That you would have
Yeah, good
then-
call.
This is
Yeah.
the route.
Thanks, guys.
So.
Lenny has a stream in.
No, it's good. Looks like no one's asking more questions.
Man, you're a good instructor.
Thanks, Michael.
You are better than 95% of the student instructors